Have you ever cried out in silence, asking God for a sign that would end your confusion once and for all? Have you ever wondered if the person who entered your life was heaven's answer, or just another distraction disguised as love? Deep inside, your soul does not crave fleeting emotions. It craves something eternal, something unshakable, a bond forged not in desire, but in destiny. Listen closely. Before God reveals who is meant to walk beside you, He first uncovers who you are when your spirit is fully aligned with Him. That is the revelation most people run from, but it is the only one that can heal your soul and open the gates to a love that does not break. This video is not here to give you shallow phrases or empty promises. It is here to unlock the truth that separates illusions from divine reality. Stay with me until the very end, because what you are about to hear could rescue you from one of the most dangerous traps of your journey and position you for the promise that heaven already wrote with your name on it. Now, if this message is already stirring something inside you, I ask you to take a step of faith right now. Press like, subscribe if you have not yet done so, and write the number 99 in the comments. Why 99? Because in the parable of the lost sheep, the shepherd left the 99 to find the one. By writing it, you are declaring, Lord, I am the one you are speaking to today. Do not let me be lost in confusion. Align me with your perfect plan. Before you ever recognize the person heaven has assigned to walk beside you, there is a deeper unveiling that must happen. God reveals you to yourself. Many of the chosen ones fall into the same trap, crying out desperately, Lord, show me if it's him. Lord, reveal if it's her, yet failing to realize that they are still looking through a fogged mirror. If your own heart is clouded by old wounds, unhealed fears, and unmet desires, how could you ever discern the one who is truly sent by heaven? God, in His mercy, never hands a covenant into hands that are still bleeding from chains of the past. He begins with surgery on your identity, stripping away the lies you believed, the masks you wore, and the fragments of your soul that were never meant to define you. Think about it. How many times have you mistaken intensity for love, attention for commitment, or chemistry for purpose? It is not because you are blind. It is because the enemy knows how to counterfeit the feelings you crave. He will send someone who seems perfect, who speaks your language, who offers comfort in your loneliness. But that connection, no matter how warm, will secretly lead you away from the fire of God's presence. And here is the mystery. God does not expose this through loud warnings. He exposes it by showing you yourself. He reveals how your heart reacts under pressure, how your spirit responds to silence, how your soul behaves when no one is watching. The first revelation is not about the other person. It is about your own readiness to hold what is sacred. You see, God does not unite two people to complete each other's emptiness. That is the illusion of the world, and it is why so many relationships collapse under the weight of unmet needs. God unites two whole souls, two hearts already anchored in Him, two lives already burning with purpose. And if you are still running from your own healing, if you are still filling your quiet spaces with noise, then even if the right one stood in front of you today, your spirit would not recognize them. The truth would feel uncomfortable. The blessing would feel like a burden. That is why the Lord pauses your story until you learn to stand unshaken in His presence alone. Many chosen ones confuse prayer for confirmation with prayer for escape. They do not really want God's answer. They want His approval for what their heart already decided. But God is too merciful to give you what you are not prepared to protect. So He begins with a mirror. He makes you confront the parts of yourself that are restless, that are insecure, that are still searching for validation in another human being instead of resting in His love. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Because when you finally see yourself as God sees you, restored, strong, whole, you will stop begging for someone to complete you and start preparing to walk beside someone who multiplies what God already built in you. Ask yourself right now, am I ready to love without losing myself? Am I ready to give without being drained? Am I ready to carry a covenant that reflects heaven, not my own brokenness? These are the questions that separate the chosen from the distracted, the mature from the impatient. And when you dare to ask them honestly, God begins to answer. Not with a name, not with a face, but with transformation inside your spirit. So here is the urgency. Do not despise this first revelation. Do not rush past it. Because until you let God align who you are, you will not recognize who is truly meant for you. And if you ignore this, you risk falling again into the same cycle. Short-lived passions, sudden disappointments, and painful lessons that were never meant to be repeated. The Lord is whispering even now, "My child, let me reveal you before I reveal them. Let me align your heart before I align your path." And here is the mystery that keeps so many awake at night. What if the delay you feel is not because God is hiding someone from you, but because He is still unveiling you to yourself? What if the greatest key to finding your soulmate is not searching harder, but surrendering deeper? Stay with me, because in the next revelation you will discover why heaven's silence is not absence, but protection, and how this silence could be the loudest sign you have been praying for. There is a kind of silence that feels unbearable, a silence that makes you question everything. Your prayers, your faith, even your worth. You ask, "Lord, why won't you answer me? Why won't you just give me a sign, a word, a confirmation?" And yet, in heaven's wisdom, silence is not neglect. Silence is a shield. It is God's way of placing a hedge around your heart until you are strong enough to carry the weight of what He is preparing. You see, when the chosen one cries out for answers and heaven does not respond immediately, it is rarely a punishment. More often, it is divine protection, because the danger of rushing into the wrong covenant is greater than the pain of waiting. Imagine this. If God spoke too soon, if He unveiled the promise before your spirit was ready, you could sabotage it with your impatience. You could mishandle a treasure because you are still carrying fragments of past disappointments. Heaven knows that a promise placed in unhealed hands quickly turns into another wound. That is why silence becomes the language of mercy. God would rather allow you to wrestle with questions in the dark than to hand you an answer that you are not yet equipped to protect. The chosen ones must understand, waiting is not wasted. Waiting is training. Every day of silence is shaping your discernment, sharpening your spirit, purging you from illusions that once controlled your choices. Think of how many times you mistook intensity for destiny, how many times you called desire faith, how many times you asked for confirmation but secretly demanded permission. God, in His infinite love, refuses to allow you to repeat those same cycles when the covenant He wrote is eternal. That is why the silence of heaven burns. It is meant to break patterns that once blinded you. And here lies the mystery. Silence often exposes what words cannot. When heaven is quiet, your heart reveals its true posture. Do you still worship when you hear nothing? Do you still pray when no answer comes? Do you still trust when every sign seems hidden? This is the testing ground of the chosen. Because the one who cannot endure silence will never discern the voice of God when it finally whispers, "Yes." And the one who collapses in the waiting season will never hold steady when the promise comes with battles attached. Silence, then, is not the absence of God. It is the preparation for His presence in a deeper dimension. But let me speak to the urgency of this moment. Many chosen ones fail here. They confuse silence with rejection. They assume God has turned His back, and so they run to counterfeit confirmations, people who flatter their emptiness, voices that feed their impatience, distractions that look like answers but are only traps. And this is why heaven protects you with silence, because even your own desires can betray you if they are louder than your discernment. God knows what the enemy does not want you to realize, that impatience is the enemy's gateway. He does not need to send evil into your life. He just needs to send something good enough while you are tired of waiting. And so, heaven waits with you. Heaven guards you by saying nothing. Because if the shepherd spoke too soon, the wolf would hear too. Silence hides you. Silence shelters you. Silence gives you time to outgrow the very weaknesses that once made you easy prey. In that quiet place, you discover that your worth is not tied to a confirmation about another person. It is tied to the presence of God Himself. And once you grasp that truth, you no longer beg for signs. You begin to carry the kind of strength that no deception can manipulate. Chosen one, do not despise this season. The silence is not your enemy. It is your armor. It is proof that heaven values your destiny too much to let you walk unprepared. You are not being ignored. You are being preserved. And when the time comes, the silence will break, not with noise, but with clarity so undeniable that every counterfeit will crumble in comparison. But here is the question you must carry right now. What if the very silence you hate is the loudest sign of God's love for you? What if His quiet is not delay but protection? Stay with me, because the next revelation will uncover the most overlooked key of all, the peace of the Spirit, the eternal compass that separates false comfort from heaven's confirmation. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when emotions scream louder than reason, when attraction feels like destiny, and when the heart is convinced it has found its home. But listen carefully. Butterflies fade, chemistry shifts, and excitement burns out. True confirmation is never built on feelings alone. It is anchored in something deeper, something unshakable, something that no circumstance can counterfeit. That something is the peace of the Spirit. Colossians 3:15 declares, "Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts." The word rule here means to act as an umpire, to call the game, to decide what stands and what must be stopped. That means peace is not just a feeling, it is heaven's verdict. And when God speaks through peace, no amount of doubt can overturn it. Think about this. Excitement can be manufactured, chemistry can be imitated, affection can be rehearsed. The enemy knows exactly how to orchestrate circumstances that feel convincing. But peace, the peace that surpasses understanding, cannot be forged by human effort or demonic deception. It is heaven's signature. It is the quiet authority that settles in your soul, even when questions remain unanswered. This is why God trains His chosen ones to discern the difference between fleeting emotional relief and the eternal confirmation of His Spirit. One will give you goosebumps for a season, the other will anchor you for a lifetime. The tragedy is that many mistake adrenaline for assurance. They think, "This feels so powerful, it must be God." But adrenaline fades, and when it does, what remains often exposes a foundation built on sand. Peace, however, does not fade. It does not require constant proof. It does not fluctuate with moods or circumstances. True peace plants itself in your heart like an immovable tree, and no storm can uproot it. When it is from God, you do not need to force it, defend it, or beg for it to stay. It simply is. Now here is the urgent truth. If someone's presence pulls you away from prayer, from clarity, from the secret place with God, it is not His will. Real love never disconnects you from heaven. In fact, the one sent by God will push you deeper into His presence, not pull you out of it. The counterfeit may make you feel temporarily comforted, but it will slowly drain your hunger for the things of the Spirit. You will notice your prayers becoming shorter, your discernment becoming weaker, your time with God becoming rarer. That is not peace. It is erosion. And the longer you stay, the more it convinces you to call bondage love and distraction destiny. Peace is not the absence of conflict in a relationship. It is the presence of Christ ruling over it. You may still face challenges, misunderstandings, or seasons of growth, but through it all, there is a steady undercurrent of calm that cannot be explained. This is the peace that defies logic, the peace that whispers, "This is safe, this is right, this is mine." And here is the mystery. Peace does not always shout. It often whispers. But once you learn to recognize its voice, it becomes louder than any counterfeit sign. Ask yourself right now, when I am with this person, do I feel closer to God or farther away? Do I hunger more for His word, or do I silently neglect it? Do I sense greater clarity in my purpose, or greater confusion in my spirit? These are the tests peace brings to light. Because when the relationship is from God, you will not need to sacrifice your devotion to maintain it. Instead, the relationship itself will carry you deeper into devotion. Chosen one, if you are in a place where your emotions are loud but your spirit is restless, pause. Do not confuse relief with confirmation. Relief is temporary comfort. Peace is eternal alignment. The counterfeit may soothe your loneliness, but only God's promise will satisfy your soul. And when the right one comes, your spirit will know, not because you feel fireworks, but because you feel rest. But here is the cliffhanger you must hold on to. Peace is not only the confirmation of heaven, it is also the compass for what comes next. And if peace is the compass, then what happens when God seems silent and the peace feels distant? Could it be that heaven is testing your ability to separate false calm from divine confirmation? Stay with me, because the next revelation will expose how love without purpose is one of the greatest traps the enemy sets for the chosen. One of the greatest deceptions of this generation is the belief that love is only about companionship, comfort, or romance. The world teaches you to chase after someone who fills your weekends, who makes you laugh, who gives you butterflies in the moment. But chosen one, listen carefully. God's definition of love is far greater, far deeper, far more eternal. God does not unite two people simply so they won't feel alone. He unites them for a mission, for a divine assignment that carries weight in the spiritual realm. When heaven writes your love story, it is not written with ink. It is written with fire, a fire that cannot be extinguished by distance, disappointment, or adversity. Your soulmate is not the one who makes loneliness disappear for a few hours. Your soulmate is the one who stands beside you when the world tries to crush your spirit and whispers, "Remember who you are. Remember who called you. Remember the mission God placed in your hands." This is the difference between worldly connections and heavenly covenants. The wrong person will drain your focus and distract you from your calling. The right person, the one chosen by God, will multiply your strength and ignite your purpose. They will not compete with your relationship with God. They will fuel it. Real love, the kind that heaven ordains, is not just about how you feel. It is about what you both build together for the kingdom of God. It is about praying together when everything around you falls apart. It is about declaring promises over each other when discouragement comes knocking. It is about fighting battles not against each other, but side by side, with shields lifted and faith unshaken. The one God has for you is not merely a companion. They are a warrior, a partner in the mission, someone who recognizes that your union is not about selfish gain, but about eternal impact. Think of it like this. When God sends the right person, their presence does not distract you from your destiny. It accelerates it. Suddenly, you are not just walking, you are running. You are not just believing, you are conquering. You are not just holding on to faith, you are expanding it. They will see the vision God gave you, and instead of mocking it or minimizing it, they will nurture it, pray over it, and remind you of it when you want to give up. That is love with purpose. That is love that heaven recognizes. And here lies the danger. The enemy will always try to counterfeit this kind of love. He will send people who look supportive, but secretly undermine your mission, who speak spiritual words but lack spiritual hunger, who promise commitment, but run the moment the battle gets real. That is why discernment is essential. If the relationship weakens your prayer life, silences your worship, or shifts your focus away from God's call, it is not aligned with heaven's purpose, no matter how good it feels in the moment. Chosen one, you must ask yourself, does this person push me closer to the throne of God or pull me farther from it? Do they remind me of the fire in my soul or try to dim it? Do we dream together about God's promises, or do we only chase earthly distractions? These are not small questions. They are the dividing line between covenant and counterfeit. Love that aligns with purpose will not always look glamorous to the world. It will not always match the scripts of movies or the fantasies of culture. but it will carry a strength that no storm can shake. When God unites two people for His mission, their bond becomes unbreakable, not because they never face trials, but because every trial refines them into greater vessels for His glory. And here is the mystery. When two chosen ones unite under the banner of purpose, their love becomes more than romance. It becomes a weapon against darkness. But here is the urgent warning. Many chosen ones miss their divine connection because they are too busy chasing what feels good instead of waiting for what is eternal. Do not trade purpose for pleasure. Do not trade mission for momentary affection. Because when the right person comes, you will realize that the true joy of love is not in being adored, but in being aligned. And now let this thought linger in your spirit. What if the person God has chosen for you is not the one who makes your life easier, but the one who makes your faith stronger? What if their very presence in your life is meant to sharpen you, stretch you, and lead you deeper into your calling? Hold on to that, because in the next revelation, you will see how God seals His covenant, not only with peace, not only with purpose, but with undeniable fruit that exposes every counterfeit and confirms the promise. There comes a moment, chosen one, when all the waiting, all the silence, all the questions finally meet a divine answer. And this answer does not come wrapped in fireworks, coincidences, or goosebumps. It comes with a weight, a certainty, a seal from heaven that no human hand can counterfeit. When the right time comes, the Spirit of God confirms the covenant in a way that pierces deeper than emotions. Because emotions fluctuate, but divine confirmation remains immovable. You will know not only because you feel peace, but because you begin to see fruit, tangible, undeniable evidence that this bond is not ordinary. It is orchestrated by heaven itself. Fruit is not about flowers, compliments, or attention. Fruit is about transformation. The right person will not just make you smile, they will make you stronger. They will not just adore you, they will call you higher. Their presence will not shrink your prayer life, it will expand it. Suddenly you will find yourself praying more, not less. You will feel your hunger for God intensify, not diminish. You will notice that conversations are no longer shallow distractions, but become rivers of revelation that draw both of you deeper into the Spirit. This is the fruit of a heavenly covenant. And here is something you must understand. The chosen one does not search for someone to patch up their emptiness. Emptiness attracts counterfeits. Desperation attracts distractions. But wholeness attracts destiny. When God brings the right person, it is not to fill what is broken in you. It is to overflow with you in the mission He has already planted inside your soul. That is why the right person feels less like a missing piece and more like a multiplying fire. They do not replace God in your life. They reflect Him. They do not compete with your calling. They carry it with you. They are not intimidated by your anointing. They are drawn to it because they too are chosen to walk in purpose. But pay attention, because the enemy knows this principle well. He will try to disguise counterfeits as covenant. He will send people who look supportive but secretly pull you away from your altar. He will send voices that encourage your comfort but weaken your calling. And if you only look for peace without fruit, you can be deceived. That is why you must discern the difference. Peace that comes from God will always bear fruit that glorifies Him. If the relationship pushes you to serve, to pray, to dream in alignment with heaven, that is fruit. If it causes compromise, confusion, or complacency, that is corruption. A true heavenly covenant does not just make you feel loved, it makes you more effective for the kingdom. It sharpens your spirit. It challenges your comfort. It confronts your weaknesses with love, but refuses to let you settle for less than your calling. And here is the revelation. Sometimes the right person will not make your life easier, but they will make your life holier. Sometimes the right covenant will not remove your battles, but it will guarantee you never fight them alone. Because God does not unite two people simply for romance. He unites them as a strategy of heaven against the schemes of darkness. Chosen one, open your eyes. Look beyond appearance. Look beyond words. Ask yourself, does this person leave me more aligned with God after every encounter? Do they encourage my spirit even when they confront my flaws? Do they remind me of my destiny when I feel like giving up? Do they overflow in mission rather than demand to be the center of my world? If the answer is yes, then you are standing on holy ground. That is not just love. That is covenant. And here lies the suspense you cannot ignore. When God confirms the covenant, you will not just feel it, you will see it, you will live it, and you will bear its fruit. But what if you are standing right now in the middle of a test, where counterfeits mimic confirmation, and only discernment can separate illusion from reality? Stay with me, because in the conclusion, you will discover the final revelation, the prophetic key that will unlock your ability to recognize God's yes, without fear, without doubt, and without delay. Now listen carefully, chosen one. This is the moment heaven has been preparing you for. Every silence, every delay, every unanswered question was not rejection. It was preparation. God does not want you chained to cycles of deception, lost in illusions that drain your spirit, or tied to bonds that weaken your soul. He wants you free. He wants you healed. He wants you standing whole, so when the covenant comes, you will not break under its weight. You will thrive inside it. The one heaven has chosen for you will never pull you away from God's presence. They will not dim your fire. They will fan it into greater flames. They will not compete with your calling. They will align with it. They will not silence your prayers. They will kneel beside you and cry out louder. This is how you will know. When it is God's will, His yes will not whisper confusion. It will thunder clarity. You will not need to force it. You will not need to beg for it. You will not need to chase it. It will arrive clothed in peace, crowned with purpose, and bearing fruit that testifies of heaven itself. And here is your prophetic charge. Stop waiting for God to align someone else while you remain misaligned. Let Him align your heart first, because alignment opens doors that desperation will always keep shut. The love story written for you is not fragile. It is eternal. And when it appears, you will recognize it not with your eyes, but with your spirit, because it will feel less like finding someone and more like stepping into destiny. So declare it with faith right now as a seal over your life. Lord, align my heart before you align my path. Write it in the comments. Declare it aloud. Let heaven see your surrender and let hell tremble at your decision. Because this single act of faith could be the breaking point of old cycles and the unlocking of the covenant you were born to carry. Chosen one, this is your moment. Do not fear. Do not delay. The time of preparation is shaping you, and the appointed time of revelation will not miss you. True love from God never arrives late.